think that we homeschool moms need to learn how to be kind to ourselves, to deal with our big emotions, to care about us as much as we care about our children, to nurture the nurturer. So I've created a course, a group coaching course for homeschool moms who want to learn practices to self-nurture. I have learned them the good old-fashioned way, and you can too, through a lot of days of frustrations and reading and counseling or therapy or coaching or just talking to a really good friend, trying to figure out how to deal with it. Hitting the wall a couple times, a few times, a whole lot of times like me. Yes, you can do that. Or you can join the group coaching for self-compassion for homeschool moms. We're going to learn about how to create strategies in your real homeschool days so you can show up on purpose in your homeschool. What do you think? You don't have the time? Nobody has the time for this. Nobody wants to spend time figuring out why they're triggered, why they feel insecure, why they feel not good enough, why we feel all the big feelings. We don't have time for that. There's going to be a child probably interrupting this video because that is what they do. And mine are older and yours might be younger. I've got 4 kids. At present, they are aged 14 to almost 22. And 2 of them are graduated. The third's about to graduate. My 14-year-old feels like he's growing up. Some days not so much. And I have been doing this homeschooling thing for a while. Parenting for that many years. Parenting long enough to realize that the hardest part of parenting is me and all the stuff that I need to address. So if you're wanting to join me in an intensive, which really is an hour-and-a-half group coaching opportunity to explore the ideas around self-compassion and how they could be used to benefit you and, might I add, your homeschooled kids, then join me. You'll know if it's for you, if this is you. You don't know how to deal with your big emotions when your kiddo is having their big emotions. And you know you're making it worse in how you react. Can I hear an amen? That was definitely me. You can't put a finger on it, but there's too many things going on, and everything feels too much. This is the experience of overwhelm, too many feels, a common homeschool mom issue. You want to show up as your best self, of course, rather than your tried and true approach, but not useful approach. And you've truly tried. You've tried all the things, but nothing feels like it's getting to the heart of your challenge. This is for you if you understand that more is caught than taught. I wish it weren't so, but it is. More is caught than taught in how you engage your kids, and maybe that concerns you. Or this is for you if you just don't feel supported to do this whole homeschool thing and you don't have somebody to banter back and forth about the challenges of the day. Imagine if you were practiced in the pause. If you don't know what the pause is, you will after this group coaching session. You are practiced in the pause before you react to your child. You knew for certain that you were honoring your child as a separate person. You had a plan to address your big emotions so that you knew how to be proactive and not reactive, that you actually are learning to be proactive and responsive, not reactive. Imagine if you felt like you were enough and you could do this homeschool thing with confidence. Imagine if you felt supported, you were super clear in when to include these self-compassion techniques that people talk about and how they would actually benefit you. Imagine if you knew that you were teaching your child self-compassion strategies alongside you, emotional regulation and healthy communication too. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to join together for an hour-and-a-half group chat. We're going to establish where you most need to develop these self-compassion strategies and a plan for growing self-awareness so you actually know what your big emotions are. We'll assess your relationships, your needs, and your relationship with the most important person, yourself. Assess your relationships and also create practical self-compassion tools and techniques, ones that I have learned to schedule. We're going to plan for practicing self-compassion tools to address our big emotions, address boundary challenges, and continue to build into you. And when you bring your journal and your pen, preferably without the kids, you'll receive personal feedback, personal coaching, and a journaling workbook to help you consider all these things to continue the process of coaching after we've met together. And I'll invite you to a 5 or 6 week group coaching program so that we can dig a whole lot deeper. Straight up, if someone had said to me, let's do some self-compassion work in the beginning of my homeschool years, I would have said, well, what is even that? Because I homeschooled before the discussion of self-compassion came around. But if I'd heard about that concept somewhere in the last 10 years, I would have said, that is too weird. No thanks. But then, of course, I spent years struggling to deal with my big emotions, spent years not feeling good enough, and finally I was open to listening to whatever would help things work. And one particular day when I was especially frustrated in my homeschool, let's think, what could possibly have been frustrating me? A child being unkind again to another child, kids fighting again, nobody wanting to do the incredible things that I'd planned. Let me see. The house was a mess. I felt unsupported and disconnected from a support group. There's always a few things that might have been frustrating. What are the things that might have been frustrating you? So, a couple things were going on. And I really wanted to text my husband. But since he wasn't responding, and because he's a physician in Emerge, I knew that there probably really was something else going on that was more emergent than his wife losing her stuff at home. So I had to figure out what else to do. What would you have done? Called a friend, of course. And turns out the good friend that I had that was typically available to me most of the time, she wasn't available either. She was too busy. So what's a homeschool mama to do? I brought myself over to a mirror, and I looked at myself and I said, I'm sorry you feel so frustrated. And I could see the hurt and the anger and the upset in my eyes in a way that I wouldn't normally see it if I wasn't looking at myself in the mirror. And just in that one small moment, I felt a wee bit of ease, just a little bit. It took a little bit to truly come down from the intensity. But in a moment, I could see myself and see that I mattered. And if I was looking right at my friend and seeing that kind of intensity in her eyes, her sadness, her frustration, I would look at her and say, I'm sorry. Sounds like a frustrating day. Let's talk about it. I care about you. No, you're not a horrible mom. Yeah, you probably shouldn't have done that thing. You shouldn't have got upset by that thing. But you're not a horrible mom. You're a great mom. And I love you. And I care about you. Let's figure out how to deal with this. And that helped to put a sense of ease inside of me. A self-compassionate technique. Weird, but effective. I just needed someone to witness my frustration and sadness. And to my utter surprise, it was therapeutic. It worked. If you've heard the self-compassion book, about that book by Kristin Neff, that was the beginning of intentionally developing self-compassion strategies into our lives. And though many people have done different things, various things over the years to help us deal with our big emotions, this book has been really big. And it has been really big for me. Kristin Neff said, with self-compassion, we give ourselves the same kindness and care that we'd give a good friend. I often share with homeschool moms that if they're particularly heated with their kids, they should head to the bathroom mirror, stand in front of the mirror, and see that sad, exasperated, angry face. What would you say to that sad, exasperated, angry face if it was your friend? That is just one of a variety of self-compassion techniques that we're going to discuss in the intensive. You'll learn a few more. Here's what other people are saying about working with me. Britt says, I've recommended this for everyone. I've been making my way through her retreat or coaching opportunity and loving it. Her voice is very soothing. And it's been a special time. Teresa is a gift with the best humor. I'm blown away by the care you take to really get to know who you are mentoring or talking with. It's so rare these days. Carla says, Teresa is the real deal, an experienced homeschool mom who's been there and can help others get out of overwhelm. Her ability to hold space for silence and difficult feelings makes her no small talk approach so effective. I trust her retreat, resources, and Ask Me Anything meetings, also known as the support group meetings in the Patreon community now, have served me tremendously. I'm so glad she's in my corner. And you can also read about Cheryl's experience working alongside me. So if something like this sounds like it would be a benefit to you in your homeschool this year, join me in the self-coaching group coaching program for homeschool moms. We'll see you soon.